Oh, what's goody everyone? I hope y'all are having a fantastic day today. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your weekend was good, because mine was, until I heard what we're going to be talking about today. Now, unless you were born yesterday or you have the mental capacity of a fruit by the foot, you've heard of a free-to-play first-person shooter that's been in the works from Ubisoft. Mark Rubin, easily one of the most distinguished people in the gaming industry, had been fully transparent about what's been going on with this game since the beginning, and I say had, because this article I'm looking at today from Insider Gaming has somewhat shattered his credibility. And above all else, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to sub to the channel. Let's just get on with it, man. Right, so the title of this article is What's Going On with XDefiant? Fitting title. It's been probably the #1 question any of us have had with this game since the last playtest, which was at I think the ass end of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. The first part of this article is more of an introduction, so I'm not really gonna touch on it there. Where we begin is the first sentence of the second paragraph of this article that says this. According to Ubisoft's Q3 2024 earnings report, XDefiant is scheduled to be released by the end of Q4 2024 or March 31st, 2024 to be exact. But with just 1 week until the date, there's been zero indication of a release. Honest question here, okay? Has anyone heard a damn thing about XDefiant aside from the day I'm writing this, which is the 23rd of March? Literally the last thing Mark posted was on the 26th of January regarding some private tests they did, and that's really it. Not a breadcrumb, not a gnat fart of information about the game since then. Let's push on, shall we? Speaking with developers at Ubisoft who wish to remain anonymous because they are not authorized to speak about company plans, it's understood that XDefiant was aiming to release during the last week of February when this internal release date was made public via Ubisoft's earnings call, a deadline that was obviously missed. And I love how not a single word was uttered to anybody about it outside of the studio. Well, let's back up a little bit, okay? There's obviously got to be a good reason as to why XDefiant is delayed, right? Maybe it's some layoffs, maybe there's more technical difficulties than expected. Let's find out. Developers working on the project are becoming increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress, and in short, the game's shortcomings stem from executives' pursuit to try to copy Call of Duty rather than building their own game. Listen, I know y'all have Mark Rubin on your team, and people have been comparing this game to COD since they highlighted the XD and XDefiant to be cool and quirky, right? But if we can take Henderson at his word, aka the guy that wrote this article, why the fuck are y'all trying to be the competition? If people want to play COD, they'll go play COD. Okay, there's tons of them. Recently, Warzone Mobile came out, even though I've heard it's a mid-pile of mouse shit. Why would the devs be spending so much time mimicking an experience other players can play right now? But there is one question that does come with this, and one they don't really elaborate on. What do they mean by trying to copy Call of Duty? Like, what are the devs doing that's a direct copy of COD? Because looking at XDefiant and looking at COD, yeah, there's some similar modes here and there, but that's really it. Now, if y'all went the route of adding black cell-like cosmetics or some shit, then yeah, we don't need any more of that. But they don't really explain what they're copying. And then goes on to add, the never-ending hunt to chase COD and add pointless stuff always breaks the current build, said one source, which often then requires days of fixing the game. Now, you can agree or disagree with what I'm about to say. That's totally fine. But if you're in the market of making an arcadey first-person shooter of any capacity, regardless of how different your game may be, you're going to get compared to COD one way or another. Combat Master, Warface, Iron Sight, I'm pretty sure even Titanfall back when Black Ops 3 was around got compared to COD. All of them have been compared to the big dog of the first-person shooter scene. But none of the games I mentioned set out to be the next COD killer. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them have been heavily inspired by COD, but they didn't have to delay their games because they're wasting resources and breaking the engine just to copy COD. I genuinely feel like Mark Rubin or some other director saw the titles on YouTube of XDefiant is the next COD killer and took that shit literally, because if they didn't, I believe we would have had the game in our hands by now. That's just how I feel though. But wait, we gotta at least let Mark Rubin say his piece, okay? There's actually a tweet that came out the same time that I'm writing this script. Let's go ahead and read it. Just FYI, nothing about our delay is due to any new features. In fact, not much had changed from a gameplay standpoint. The delay has been due to the tech issues we've talked about. Whoever said chasing COD in Tom's report was a major eye roll. I understand that we can't take everyone's word at face value, so there's a chance that this is just a petty dev that's tired of fixing the game or making it. But if what the article says is true, Mark, my man, you know better than this. Now, skipping over a little bit of stuff here, Insider does mention that the game isn't canceled and that the game is still being developed. Good. At least there's a happy ending after all. But while we're closing the book on that, let's go ahead and open up another one I call Mark Rubin's Twitter account and sort of go over what we have here. I'm just gonna read this whole last thread he posted and sort of just pick and choose the parts I feel like we need to dive into a little bit more. First tweet, we have an update coming soon, probably coming this week. I know we've been silent because to be honest, there isn't much to talk about. I know people just want to see the game ship, and so do we. I can't wait to ship just so we don't have to talk about ship dates anymore and we can talk about more important stuff like gameplay balancing or new content, modes, maps, etc. Why can't y'all just do that now? You know, don't give us the entire game before you actually launch the thing, but just give us some samples. Literally anything is better than nothing in this case. Just to be clear, we are not sitting around with the game fixing every last little bug. Nobody launches perfect bug-free games. We do our best, but it's just not realistic to think that. We had major technical issues that we found right before we launched that had to be fixed. And I'm glad you're acknowledging that. However, it doesn't help y'all's case that every delay has been over the smallest things that could have been resolved before a playtest. And that's what the team has been working on. And they are not just minor bug fixes, but major infrastructure and full system overhauls. The game remains the same that you played already, which we have strived to make as fun as possible, which we feel confident about. He then goes on to say that he's happy to talk about the game as openly as he can regarding most things. He even goes on to confirm that unranked playlists will have no SBMM, which is fine, I suppose. I don't know, man. This whole thing is just scuffed in my opinion. If you want to read the whole article for yourself, I'll be leaving the link down below, but for my final thoughts, I can feel the hope for XDefiant just slipping more and more every day. Granted, based on what Mark said, we have an update coming, but even then, I don't feel excited about it, you know? I have this feeling of this ship has sailed because it sort of has. They have these internal date leaks out into the public either knowingly or unknowingly, then they announce a delay, then we get a new date and it's the same shit over and over and over again. Do I want XDefiant to come out? Yes, but if it's coming out soon, and I'm talking next week soon, your window of promotion is about to be as thin as hairs on a dust mite's ass. It's danger close from where you need to be talking about it to where you need to be releasing it. And if they follow through, it's going to completely kneecap this game in my opinion. Because as of right now, this is the last thing we've heard about XDefiant. Doesn't really drum up any hype for a release. So as far as the lack of communication from Mark goes, I don't want him to keep up with this king of transparency thing because now it just doesn't exist. Mark had almost 2 full months worth of opportunities to communicate their issues with the game to the player base, and they didn't. Now we get an article saying it's because they're trying to copy COD, and even if it's not true, this is not a good look whatsoever. All they can do now really is just aim to be themselves. Don't focus on making a COD killer because they're never going to do that. They just gotta focus on making a game people are going to want to spend any amount of time and eventually money on. But now I turn the mic to you. Let me know down below what you think about XDefiant. And while you're down there, go ahead and smash that like button and delay that sub button also YouTube can show you my content free of charge. And as always, I want to give a major shout out to all the members of the channel. Y'all are amazing individuals. Thank you so much. This is Sir Blackout signing off to go play more R6 because goddamn, that game is addicting. Later.